today. My name's Joella. We're going to get started with the yoga practice in just a second. But just a reminder, please make sure you're listening to your body. And please make sure, especially if you have any underlying health conditions, that you've checked with a doctor before starting a new exercise program. So our practice is not going to use any props today, but if you have a yoga mat, that would be handy. If not, you can use a towel. Just make sure you don't, slide around if you're on a hard floor. So we're going to start standing with our feet hips distance apart. So find like the bony structures of your hips. We'll talk about it a couple times, but you have these hip points at the front, and you'll feel like the hard bones kind of sticking out there. But that is where you want your feet. So straight down from your hips. You'll hear me reference our hip points a lot throughout our practice. So hands just down by your side, relax for now, and just close your eyes for a moment. Just notice how this feels. You can begin to deepen your breath a little bit. Nice deep inhale through your nose, and exhale out your nose. And again, in and out. One more like this, in and out. We're going to switch it up a little bit. Please don't do this if you're pregnant, but we're going to inhale through your nose and exhale out a third of the way and pause. The next third and pause. Final third, pause. Nice deep inhale. And again, the top third, the middle third, the bottom third. Again, nice deep inhale through your nose. Exhale the top third, the middle third, the bottom third. Last one like this, nice deep inhale. Exhale, pause. Exhale, pause. Exhale all the way out, pause. Nice deep inhale. And breathe naturally. Notice how this feels. If your breath feels any different, maybe you can breathe a little bit deeper. So you can keep your eyes closed here if you had them closed, or you can open them. But we're going to start to focus on our muscle engagement while we're standing here. So think of your feet as little rectangles and see if you can press down on all four corners of your feet, making sure that they're parallel to each other. Again, right underneath of your hips. Lift up on your kneecaps slightly. Pull your quadriceps, the large muscles at the front of your thighs, up towards your hips. And think of your tailbone and your buttocks flesh moving down and away from your back. Think of broadening across your collarbone, standing up nice and tall, arms relaxed by your side. So from the side, if somebody was looking at you, your ear, your shoulder, your outer hip, and your ankle would all be in one long line. Take one more breath here. Go ahead and flutter your eyes open if they're still closed. We're going to inhale our arms out and up, Urdhva Hastasana. So I realize you can't see my hands, but they're shoulder distance apart, palms facing together. Your outer upper arms, your triceps are wrapping in towards each other. So it's actually external rotation of your arms, but when they're up, they're wrapping in towards your face. Like your pinkies were going to come closer together, but shoulders relaxing down away from your ears. One more breath here, finding the muscle engagement all the way from our feet to our fingertips. Exhale your right hand down your right side, left hand up and over, keeping both feet evenly pressed into the ground, but not just crunching over to the right, but making space here between that right hip point and the right low ribs. Inhale back up to center, and exhale to the left. Inhale back up to center. Exhale back over to the right. One more time. Inhale center, moving with our breath. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale here. This time we're going to interlace our fingers. So like you're holding hands, and then moving your hands inside out so that the palms are going to face towards the ceiling. So start with them right down here in front of you. Turn them inside out. Inhale, up. So your arms are still hugging in, but you're thinking of dropping your pinkies down. Breathing here. And let's make sure that you're still standing up nice and tall. So we have a tendency when we lift our arms up of letting our ribs jut out. It's a kind of easy thing to do. We're going to correct that by pressing our thighs back, tailbone down, and keeping our rib cage tight together. Inhale here, exhale over to the right, keeping both feet pressed down into the floor. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left, hands still interlaced and inside out. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center, making length through our spine. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Turn your hands back right side in. Come back into Urdhva Hastasana, so palms facing together. And exhale, hands interlace behind your head like you were going to do some sit-ups if you were laying down. So elbows wide, they should be out of your peripheral vision, so they're moving away from each other. Your shoulder blades are gently pulling together and pushing forward into your rib cage. Again, that's just your shoulder blades moving forward, so you're not arching your back. You're not letting your ribs come apart. Inhale here, and exhale, pressing down through our feet, keeping our hips pointing forward. We're going to twist to the right, just nice and gently. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist left. Inhale, center. Keeping those hip points lifting up towards your low ribs. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Last time, inhale, center. Exhale, left. Elbows still wide. Inhale, back up to center. Release your hands by your side and come up to the top of your mat. So again, starting in Tadasana mountain pose where we began our practice today. Feet right below our hips. Our arms are going to come forward and up, outer upper arms wrapping in, shoulder distance apart. Exhale, bending in your knees, forward fold from your hips. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, reaching the crown of your head forward, bending length through your spine, shoulder blades pulling together. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms forward and up, arms wrapping in. Exhale, Tadasana. Again, inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, forward fold. Moving with your own breath. It's okay if it doesn't match mine in time-wise completely. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms forward and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, standing up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Pause here for a moment. Maybe grab opposite elbows. Gently rock from side to side. Bending your knees as much as you need to plant your hands down to the floor. We're going to step back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So hands are shoulder distance apart, maybe slightly wider, wrist creases, parallel or slightly turned out to the front edge of your mat. Feet, hips distance apart, balls of your feet pressing down to the floor, heels more than likely lifted, but they're going to be right behind your second toe, so they're not turning in or out. As you press down into your hands, lift your forearms up and away, outer upper arms, triceps wrapping in towards your face. Making space evenly across your collarbone and your back, lifting your hip point, your sits bones up and away from your hands. One more breath here. We're going to slowly make our way down to the floor. So bend your knees, gently place them to the floor. Swing your legs around to the front. And just make sure you have space behind you. And lay on back. So we're going to start with our feet hips distance apart here. Heels right underneath of our knees. Feet parallel to each other. So pressing through all four corners of our feet. We're just going to flow through a bridge pose here. Go ahead and hold on to the sides of your mat and walk your triceps in, like you're tucking your shoulders under yourself, making space across your collarbones. Exhale here. Inhale, press into your feet, lifting your hips up, lengthening your tailbone towards the back of your knees. And exhale, lower down. Moving with our breath. We're going to do this 5 times. That was 1. Inhale, lift, lengthening your tailbone towards the back of your knees, making space between your sacrum and your low back ribs. Exhale, lowering down. Moving with your own breath. So it's okay again if it doesn't match mine. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Last time. Warming up our hamstrings, opening up our hip flexors. Exhale, hips down. All right. Keeping your left foot planted to the floor, let's extend our right foot up towards the ceiling. Interlace your hands just behind the backs of your thighs, behind your hamstrings. Keeping your sacrum, your low back, right here, press down into the floor. With the natural curves of your spine, so there's a little lift in your low back here. Just gently opening up your hamstrings, pulling that right leg towards you. One more breath. And exhale, lowering your right foot back down to the floor. Let's extend our left foot up towards the ceiling, interlacing your hands behind your thigh. Breathing here. One more breath. And exhale, lowering your left foot back down to the floor to meet your right. We're going to do a reclined figure-4. So cross your right ankle over your left knee. You can stay right here if you're feeling a stretch through the outer part of your right hip. You can gently place your hand here to open up your knee a little bit more. If you need a little bit more of a stretch, you can interlace your hands behind your left hamstrings, bringing your left knee over towards your shoulder, or coming up and over your shin. But make sure that your sacrum, your low back, the top of your bum kind of is staying on the floor, so we're not seeing this happen as you pull your leg in. One more breath here. Release your left leg to the floor, uncross your right, and let's do the other side. Left ankle over right knee. You can stay right here. Use your left hand to gently press that left knee out, or you can interlace your hands behind your right hamstrings, bring that right knee over toward your right shoulder. Again, making sure your sacrum's staying on the floor. So we want those natural curves in our spine. We're not flattening out our lumbar spine, the low back. One more breath. Release your right foot to the floor, uncross your left, and then hug your knees into your chest. We're going to begin to rock forward and back for 5, 4, 3, one, we're going to pause in Namaskara boat pose. So balancing, legs come into tabletop. You can extend your hands. Spine's nice and long here. Maybe you can extend your legs or begin to. One more breath. And then come to a seated position. So sitting up nice and tall, both of our sits bones in contact with the floor here so that we're not, leaning to one side or the other. So again, from that side looking, you would see your ear, shoulder, and outer hip all in one line. Sometimes if you're really tight through your hamstrings and your hip flexors, your tailbone can sort of round under. So if that's the case, maybe roll up your mat and sit on top of that, or if you have a block or a blanket, something handy, it can be helpful to sit up on top of that as well. We're only going to be here for a moment though, so sit up nice and tall. Take one full round of breath. And then on your next inhale, think of a cow pose here. So rounding your back, lifting, making space here, lifting your low ribs away from your sacrum, finding a little back bend. So nice seated cow. Exhale, seated cat posture. So belly button to spine, chin to chest, tailbone lengthening down. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Really articulating the movement, taking the full breath to make it. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, back through a neutral spine. We're going to come up and over, or you can swing your legs around. Hands to the floor, stepping back into plank pose. So you can always be on your knees here. But your hands are right below your shoulders, wrist creases parallel or slightly turned out to the front edge of your mat. Pressing down through your hands, lifting up through your armpits, broadening through your collarbone, shoulder blades gently pulling together. Pressing down through the balls of your feet, lengthening your tailbone down towards your heels, pressing your thighs upward, inner thighs lifting. Front hip points moving towards your low ribs. One more breath. Inhale, lift your right leg up about 2 inches. Exhale, lower. Left leg lifts. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, right leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, lower. Hinging forward slightly so shoulders come over to fingertips. Outer upper arms still wrapping in, lowering in one long line down towards the floor. Everything lowers at once. Hands come back by your ribs, so shoulder distance apart, wrists underneath of your elbows. Press down to the tops of your feet, lift up on your quadriceps, tailbone lengthening back. Inhale, baby cobra, so low ribs still on the floor. And exhale, lower. Flowing through this, inhale it. Exhale, lower, maybe getting a little bit bigger each time. Inhale, lift. Tailbone lengthening back. Exhale, lower. This time, tucking your toes under, pressing down through the balls of your feet. Inner thighs really lifting up as your tailbone lengthens down. Exhale here. Inhale, press into your hands, upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Outer upper arms wrapping in as you press down through your thumb and forefinger, your whole sternum pulling forward. Front hip points lifting toward your low ribs. One more breath. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Staying here for about 3 breaths. Bottom of your exhale, looking towards your hands. Walk, step, or float your feet up. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms forward and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands by your side, Tadasana mountain pose. All right, we're gonna do our Surya Namaskara A, sun salutation A. So feet, hips distance apart, starting in Tadasana. Inhale, arms forward and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, stepping back, Chaturanga. Inhale, back bend, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pausing here. One more breath. The bottom of your exhale, looking towards your hands, walk, step, or float up. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms forward and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause and breathe. Pressing into your hands, lifting through your forearms. The bottom of your exhale, walk, step, or float your feet up. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms forward and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana. Last time, inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Chaturanga. Float back. You can land with bent knee, elbows. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And pause. Little bend in your knees to find length in your spine. Stepping your right foot forward to the inside of your right thumb. You're going to heel toe it over once or twice so it comes to the midline. Spin your back heel down so you're lined up heel to arch and that back leg is internally rotated. Inhale up, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. So that right knee is right over top of your ankle. You're pressing back through the outer edge of your left foot as this inner left thigh spins in. Arms can come out to a T. Lifting up from your rib cage, tailbone lengthens down. Right inner thigh spins up and over to the left as you press down through that right foot. One more breath here. Exhale, right fingertips reach towards the right, pelvis tilts to the right, elbow comes down to that right knee, left hand comes up and over. So your tailbone is now pointing towards that back leg. Back leg is still engaged, so lifting up still on that quadricep as you press down to the outer left thigh. Outer upper arm of that left arm is still wrapping in, so it's not open up, but you're like closing off your armpit. Making space between that right hip point and low right ribs. Nice and long. One more breath. Exhale here. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, hands come down to frame your right foot, step it back, downward facing dog. One more breath here. Left foot steps forward. Heel toe your left foot to the midline. Spin your right heel down. Pressing down to the outer edge of that right foot. Lifting on your right quad. Inner thigh rolls in. Inhale up. Warrior two. Left knee right over top of left ankle. Lifting the inner left thigh up and over. Breathing here. Lifting up from your rib cage. One more breath. Left fingertips reach towards the side wall. Pelvis tilts forward. Left elbow to left knee, right hand overhead. Wrapping that right tricep in towards your face, like you're closing off your right armpit, reaching from your fingertips down to that back heel, your right heel. Lengthening your tailbone down, making space between your left hip point and low ribs. So your spine is nice and long, you're not rounding here. Outer left hip hugging in and under. Exhale here. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, hands come down to frame the left foot. Step it back, downward facing dog. Breathing here. The bottom of your exhale, look towards your hands. Walk, step, or float your feet up. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms forward and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hips sink back, chair pose. So lifting your front hip points away from your thigh bones. Tailbone lengthens, down and back. Pressing down through all four corners of your feet, parallel to each other. Maybe a little more into your heels. Arms are forward and up, outer arms really wrapping in here, but make space across your collarbone. Inhale here. Exhale, forward fold. One more breath here. Inhale, sweeping your arms forward and up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. So we're going to do another forward fold a little bit differently this time. So feet hips distance apart, pressing down through all four corners of your feet. Go ahead and find those hip points that we talked about earlier, right at the front of your body. So stand up nice and tall, pressing down through your feet, lifting up through your quadriceps. We're going to hinge forward, but imagine that you were tilting your pelvis forward as you do it, like somebody karate chopped you right here under those hip points, and you're lifting up and over where they just hit you. Okay, stand up nice and tall. Hopefully nobody ever karate chops you there. Standing up, exhale, forward fold, tilting your pelvis forward, finding length through your spine. Weight comes a little more into the balls of your feet, and exhale, softening through your spine. From here, you can place your hands wherever they reach, or take your peace fingers, your middle finger and your pointer finger, and wrap them around your big toe, making a seal. So wrapping your thumb around where your fingernails are. Inhale, find length through your spine, and exhale, forward fold. Breathing here. Elbows going out to the side, keeping your shoulder blades lifted away from your ears. Knees can be as bent as they need to. Weight comes a little more forward into the balls of your feet, reaching the crown of your head down. Breathing here. Inner thighs spinning back. Outer hips hugging in. All right, release the toe grip if you had it. Placing your hands to your hips, elbows pointing up to the sky, and just reverse the way we came down. So feel your pelvis, and inhale, nice and long, pelvis comes up. All right, come back up to the top of your mat. Staying in Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, let's step our left foot back to the back of our mat, low lunge. Feet are on railroad tracks here, so hips distance apart, and then gently place your left knee down to the floor. You can roll up your mat or place a pillow there if it's a little tender. You can uncurl your toes here. So here we want to press down through that front foot, keeping our right knee over top of our right ankle. Pressing down through the top of our left foot. See if you can get your pinky toe, all 5 of those toes, down onto the floor. Lift up on this left quad and hug your outer hips in. Tense up on your fingers here a little bit so you can find space between your collarbones. Spine's nice and long. One more breath. Not letting yourself collapse down into that left hip, but keeping your quad engaged there. Inhale, arms forward and up, low lunge. And exhale, twist towards the right. Really pressing down through the ball, especially the big toe mound of this right foot. Your right knee moving over to the right. Outer right hip really hugging in, tailbone lengthening down. Lifting up on your front hip points towards your low ribs. One more breath. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, hands down to either side of your right foot. Tuck your left toes under. Lifting your left knee up. Step it up to meet the right, forward fold. Other side. Planting down, pressing down through your left foot. Step your right foot towards the back of your mat. Low lunge. Place your right knee down to the floor. Again, using a pillow or rolling up your mat if it's a little tender. Uncurling your toes. Pressing down through that right foot so that you can get all 5 toes on the floor. Lifting up through this right quad. Outer hips hugging in. Pressing down through all 4 corners of your left foot. Knee over top of left ankle. Think of your left inner knee moving to the left so it's not collapsing to the midline. Tensing up on your fingers a little bit here. Broadening through your collarbone. Think of the centers of your shoulder blades just gently moving towards each other. So you're not crunching them together, but they just gently move towards each other. Outer hips really hugging in here. One more breath. Lengthening your tailbone back. Inhale, arms forward and up. Front hip points moving up toward your low ribs, protecting our low back. And exhale, twisting to the left. Arms out to a T. Outer hips hugging in, like you had corn cob holders stuck in either side of them. One more breath. Pressing down to the big toe mound of that front foot, your left foot. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, hands frame your left foot. Uncurl your right toes, stepping up, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, hands to your side, Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's step our left foot back about 3 feet or so. That left toe and knee are going to point up to the left corner of your mat. Maybe not exactly, but out in that direction. So it's not, your foot's not parallel to the outer edge of your mat, but your back heel is pressed down. Feet are hips distance apart here. Again, it's going to be really important that you squeeze your outer hips and lift up on your quadriceps as you press down through the ball of your right foot, the outer edge of your left foot. Stand up nice and tall, lengthening your tailbone down. Feel for your hip points again. Lifting up on your quadriceps. Exhale, tilt forward from your hips. Spine's nice and long. Parsvottanasana. Press down through the right big toe mound as your right outer hip gently pulls back that right wrist crease. Not wrist crease, hip crease. Breathing here. Lifting up on your quadriceps. One more breath. Inhale, pressing down through your feet, coming up to stand. Other side, stepping your left foot up. Right foot steps back. So your right foot is just, or your whole leg actually is slightly externally rotated. Toe and knee pointing out to the side slightly. Pressing down through the outer edge, your right foot lifting up on both your quadriceps, outer hips hugging in. Stand up nice and tall. Find your hip points. Inhale here and exhale, hinging forward. Press down through your left big toe mound as you lift up on your left quadricep, and that left hip crease moves back slightly. Spine's long, crown of your head reaching forward. Thighs hugging in. One more breath. Exhale here. Inhale. Come up to stand. Step your right foot up to meet the left. And come to face the long edge of your mat. So stepping your feet wide apart. They'd be approximately underneath your wrists if your arms are out to a T. But we're going to stand up nice and tall here, pressing down through all four corners of our feet. Lifting up on your quadriceps, tailbone lengthens down. Stand up tall. Inhale here and exhale, hip creases, tilt forward. Forward fold. You can place your hands wherever they reach. But pressing down through your feet and really lifting up through your quadriceps. So you're protecting your hamstrings here. Think of your sit bones pulling together behind you. One more breath. Pressing down through your feet. Inhale, come up to stand. Go ahead, heel toe your feet closer together. They're not going to come to hips distance, but we're going to keep them slightly wider. Toes pointing out. And exhale, find Yogi Squat, Asana. So hips reach down. Length still through your spine here. If you have any knee problems, I would recommend not bringing your hips below your knees. Hands can come to heart center. Maybe your elbows come just to the inside of your knees. Making space from the crown of your head to your tailbone. Shoulder blades gently pulling together. Pressing down through your feet. One more breath. Hands come to the floor. Gently lift your hips up. Forward fold. You can heel toe your feet to hips distance apart. Inhale, gently roll up to stand. All right. Feet hips distance apart. I'll stay facing you for this one. Inhale, arms forward and up. And exhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Lengthen your tailbone down, front hip points lift up and away from your thigh bones. Arms extended, outer upper arms, triceps wrapping in towards your face. Breathing here. Let's exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale here, exhale, twisting to your right, keeping your spine long, staying sitting up so we're not folding forward and putting our elbow down. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, twisting over to the left, keeping your outer hips hugging in. See if you can feel, are your knees still in line with your hips and your feet? Did they fall in or out? Inhale, unwind. And exhale, stand. Bringing your hands down by your hips. So this next pose, I'm going to give you multiple options. So I encourage you to stay where you are today. You should challenge yourself, but don't go past where you're working today. So we don't want to risk any sort of injury. So if you're finding that a pose is difficult for you, stay in that level of it. Work on that today, and then maybe as you do it over time, you'll get to the next step. So don't force yourself into a position you're not ready for. So, pressing our feet down into the floor. Lengthen your tailbone down, lifting your quadriceps up. Hands can start on your hips, bringing your right knee up to hip height. Interlace your hands around your knee. This is step one. You can stay right here. Step two would be to keep your left hand where it is. Bring your right hand up to shoulder height. Exhale here and inhale. Twist open to your right. Lengthening your tailbone down, keeping your hips hugging in. Pressing down through that left foot, lifting up on your left quadricep. Step 3 would be to take your peace fingers, wrap them around your right big toe, and begin to extend that right foot forward. Keeping your spine nice and long, so your tailbone's lengthening down. Your back low ribs are lifting up and away from your sacrum. Outer hips really hugging in, keeping your quadriceps engaged so that we're not risking our hamstrings. Coming out of it the same way you came in. Right foot down to the floor. All right, shake out that left leg. Other side. So pressing down through our right foot, lifting up on your quadriceps, lengthening your tailbone down, lifting your front hip points up and away from your thigh bones. Press down into your right foot, lift your left leg up, hip height. Interlace your fingers. You can pause right here, wrapped around your left knee. Outer hips hugging in so that we're not letting our hip jet out to the side. Lifting up on your quadriceps. Keeping your right hand where it is. Maybe your left arm floats up to shoulder height. And see if you think of it as like peeling your left rib cage open. So your hips are staying where they are. You're turning from your thoracic spine. Tailbone lengthens down, hip points lift up and away from your thigh bones. Keeping your quadriceps, those large muscles in the front of your thighs engaged. Maybe your right peace fingers reach for your left toe and extend your left heel forward. Any amount, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Breathing here. One more breath. Exhale, coming out of it the same way you came in. And shaking it out. Okay. Let's come back to face the long edge of our mat, but you can stay sort of towards the center. Feet maybe like mat's distance apart, so slightly wider than hips distance, and feet slightly turned out, not parallel. Inhale, staying up nice and tall, hands to heart center. Exhale, Malasana, Yogi Squat, or Garland pose. Making your spine nice and long, so lengthening your tailbone down and back, broadening across your collarbone. You can stay right here, or place your hands down to the floor in front of you. So your hands will be parallel to each other, maybe slightly turned out, so your wrist creases are turned out slightly to the front edge of your mat. Outer upper arms, your triceps really wrapping in here. Hug your knees in by your shoulders, and you can stay right here. Begin to bring weight forward into your hands as you broaden across your collarbone, lengthening through your spine. Maybe one toe lifts, maybe the other. And crow pose. Pressing down through your hands, using them to grip the mat. Coming back down into Malasana. One more breath here. And exhale. Hips up, forward fold. Heel toeing your feet to hips distance apart. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, stepping back, downward facing dog. Gently place your knees down to the floor, about mat's width apart, toes come together, hips to heels, child's pose. Gently walk your hands up to a seated position, and then bring your legs out in front of you. Sit up nice and tall, Tadasana. This is another good place to sit up on a block or something if you notice that your pelvis is tilting under, which happens, it's very common. to have like tight hip flexors, especially if you're a runner or if you sit at a desk for work. All right, just pausing here for a moment. Knees can be a little bit bent, feet flexed, inner thighs rolling in. Go ahead and gently walk your feet in, bringing the soles of your feet together, knees open for Baddha Konasana, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale here and exhale, hinging forward again from your pelvis, not just your spine rounding over. So you're finding length, your sternum is pulling forward. Inhale, sitting back up. We're going to take a wide-legged fold here. So use your hands to help you bring your legs out to the side. And they don't have to be very wide, just as wide as is comfortable and is right in your body. But your toes and knees should be pointing up to the sky. My legs are naturally like externally rotated, so I have a tendency of letting them like fall backwards, and I have to like consciously think of kind of containing that. So toes and knees pointed up, sitting up nice and tall. Quads engaged here. And then begin to slowly walk your hands forward any amount. So front hip points moving forward slightly. Think of finding length through your inhale and then softening slightly on your exhale. You can bring your hands wherever they're comfortable. Inhale, come back up to a seated position. Using your hands behind your knees, gently bring your legs back together. And then come down to your back on your mat. Feet hips distance apart, heels right underneath of your knees, feet parallel to each other. Press down through all four corners of your feet and inhale, lift your hips up towards the sky. So you can stay right here, or you can interlace your hands behind your back, walk your shoulder blades under, press down through your feet as your tailbone lengthens towards the back of your knees, inner thighs spin in and down. Pressing down through the backs of your arms, making space across your collarbone. One more breath here. Release your hands, walk your shoulders back out, and exhale your hips back down to the floor. Gently allow your knees to fall over to the left. Arms can come out to a T. Feet are wide here, so your knees aren't stacked on top of each other, but you're feeling a nice stretch. Well, you're probably feeling a nice stretch across the front of your right hip flexor. So things feel different in all bodies. So if you're not feeling the stretch, that doesn't necessarily mean you're doing it wrong. That's just where I feel it. Inhale your knees back up through center. And exhale, allow them to fall over to the right. One more breath here. Exhale here, inhale your knees back up through center. Hug your knees into your chest for a moment. Maybe rock from side to side. And then extend your legs straight up overhead. Like just a moment ago, we were in Tadasana, stack pose, sitting up. This is like the same thing, but we're on our backs instead of sitting up on our bums. If you have a block or a blanket, it can feel really good to put it right underneath of your sacrum here. So being careful not to put it on your lumbar spine, your low back, but right under like the hard part of your low back, like just above your bum. Gently bring your legs down to the floor and make your way into Shavasana, final relaxation pose. So you can keep your knees bent if that feels better on your low back, or extend them down your mat, placing your hands wherever they're comfortable. Just closing your eyes. Allow your body to feel heavy. It's melting down into the floor. Allow your breath to be natural. Just intentionally try and clear your mind here. You can stay here as long as you'd like. When you're ready, just slowly bring your awareness back to your breath. Beginning to wiggle your fingers and your toes, maybe rolling out your wrists and your ankles. Hug your knees into your chest. Gently roll over to the right and pause there for a moment. Press down through your right hand, or excuse me, that's your left hand, and come up to a seated position. We'll just take one breath together here before we complete our practice. So nice deep inhale, reaching your arms out and up. Exhale, hands through heart center. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Namaste. Thank you all very much. I hope you enjoyed your practice. Again, my name is Joella. I have yoga classes here at 10 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then a total body conditioning class Fridays at 5. So hopefully you can make another class. Thank you.